Now going to question number 10, we always start with the prompt. This is asking us for data that's going to support the team's conclusion. And for these types of data questions, which are really called command of evidence questions, you start with the prompt like we did, then you make sense of the text in your own words, then determine how the data illustrates whatever the text is saying, and finally, you look at the answer choices. So let's go ahead and go through that process. So based on the prompt, we're looking for the research team's conclusion. So let's start reading. Studying tools unearthed at a cave site on the western coast of Italy, these archaeologists have determined that these groups fashioned them from shells of clams that they harvested from the seafloor while wading or diving, or that washed up on the beach. Clam shells became thin and eroded as they washed up, while those on the seafloor are smooth and sturdy. So the research team suspects that they prized the tools made with the shells. However, the team also concluded that those tools were likely more challenging to obtain, noting that. So what we're looking for is the idea that the Neanderthals prized the tools that were made with seafloor shells, and that those same tools were likely more challenging to obtain. So they valued the seafloor ones, and the seafloor ones were also harder to find. Now, that last idea that the seafloor shells were harder to find is definitely backed up in the data because all of these numbers are lower than their corresponding counterparts in the other column. So if they were on the seafloor, there were less of them. Let's see if that's in the answer choices. A says, at each depth below the surface, the difference in the number of tools of each type suggests that shells were easier to collect from the beach than to harvest from the seafloor. That seems to go right in line with what they're saying. B, the highest number of tools were at a depth of 3 to 4 meters below the surface, which suggests that the population at the site was highest during that period of time. We weren't really talking about different periods of time. We were simply talking about which tools were more prevalent, which ones had more, the ones from the seafloor or the ones from the beach. So because it talks about a period of time, I think we can get rid of B. C, at each depth, the difference in the number of tools of each type suggests that they preferred to use clamshells from the beach because of their durability. Well, if they preferred to use the ones from the beach, that's actually going to go against what the passage says because it says they prized the ones from the seafloor. And we also saw that the ones from the seafloor were more sturdy, whereas answer choice C is saying that the ones from the beach had more durability, that those were more sturdy. So this one's definitely wrong according to what the paragraph said. And D, the higher number of tools at 5 to 6 below the surface than at depths of 4 to 5 below the surface suggests that the size of the population changed over time. We're talking about the size of the clam populations. That really wasn't part of the discussion, how many clams there were in the population. So we can get rid of D. It wasn't really a factor. What we were looking for as a reminder is that they prized the tools that were from the sea floor and that those from the sea floor were more challenging to obtain. So D is just off topic. So the answer here is A.